Alright, let's go. Number 10. A planet where it rains molten glass sideways at 4,000 miles per hour, 63 light-years from Earth. There is a planet called HD 189733b. From a distance, it is beautiful. A deep, brilliant cobalt blue. If you saw it hanging in space, you might think it looked like Earth, a peaceful blue world. You would be catastrophically wrong. That blue color is not water. It is not sky. Astronomers believe the atmosphere of HD 189733b is laced with tiny particles of silicate, glass. The planet is blue because its atmosphere is full of glass, scattering blue light the way our atmosphere scatters sunlight. And that glass does not stay in the sky. It rains. But this is not gentle rain falling downward. Because HD 189733b is a scorching hot gas giant orbiting extremely close to its star, its atmosphere is a furnace, and its winds are almost beyond comprehension. Wind speeds on this planet are estimated to reach up to 5,400 miles per hour. That is 7 times the speed of sound, faster than any storm that has ever existed on Earth by an enormous margin. So the glass does not fall, it flies, sideways, horizontally. Driven by hurricane winds 7 times faster than sound, the molten glass tears across the planet in a permanent screaming storm. If you were somehow standing on this world, you would not be rained on. You would be sandblasted at supersonic speed by a hurricane of molten glass, shredding everything in its path. It is one of the most beautiful planets we have ever found, and it is a screaming, glass-filled hell. Number 9. A planet where the rain is made of iron. 640 light-years away lies a planet called WASP 76b, and it has one of the most horrifying weather systems ever discovered. WASP 76b orbits so close to its star that one side of the planet permanently faces its sun, locked in eternal day, while the other side faces eternal night. On the day side, the temperature reaches around 2,400 degrees Celsius. That is hot enough to not just melt metal, but to vaporize it. On the blazing day side of this planet, iron does not exist as a solid. The heat is so extreme that iron turns to gas, rising into the atmosphere as metallic vapor. But then the winds carry that vaporized iron around to the cooler night side of the planet, and on the night side, the temperature drops enough for the iron to condense, to turn back into liquid, and then it falls. It rains iron on WASP 76b, droplets of molten metal falling from the sky on the dark side of a world where the days are hot enough to boil metal into vapor. Imagine standing on the night side, in the darkness, and feeling drops of liquid iron falling around you from a sky that vaporized that same metal just hours before. This is not science fiction. Astronomers have directly detected the signature of iron in the atmosphere of WASP 76b and confirmed this exact process. A planet where the weather forecast is a permanent chance of molten metal rain. A world so hot it boils iron by day and rains it down by night. Number 8. The planet that is darker than coal, and nobody fully knows why. 750 light-years from Earth, there is a planet called TRES-2b, and it holds a disturbing record. It is the darkest planet ever discovered. We are not talking about a planet that is a little dim. TRES-2b reflects less than 1% of the light that hits it. That makes it darker than coal. Darker than the blackest paint humans have ever created. If you held up a lump of coal next to this planet, the coal would look bright by comparison. This is a world that absorbs almost all the light that touches it, and reflects almost nothing back. And here is the disturbing part. Astronomers are not entirely sure why it is so dark. The planet orbits close to its star, and it is extremely hot, glowing faintly with a dim red heat of its own, like a coal in a dying fire. Its atmosphere may contain light-absorbing chemicals, like vaporized sodium and potassium, that soak up the light, but the sheer completeness of the darkness is not fully explained. Picture this world. A gas giant, larger than Jupiter, hanging in space, almost perfectly black, absorbing nearly all light, radiating only a faint, hellish red glow from its own scorching heat. A dark, silent, burning world, so black that it is nearly invisible, drifting in the void, giving off just the faintest ember-red light, like the eye of something enormous, half asleep in the dark. It is the closest thing to a physical shadow that we have ever found in the universe. A planet that eats light. Number 7. A planet hotter than most of the stars in the sky. There is a rule that seems obvious. Stars are hot. Planets are cool. Stars produce their own heat through nuclear fusion. Planets just orbit, absorbing whatever warmth their star gives them. A planet should never be hotter than a star. KELT 9b breaks that rule. KELT 9b is a planet orbiting a star about 670 light-years away, and its temperature reaches around 4,300 degrees Celsius on its day side. That is hotter than many actual stars. There are red dwarf stars, real functioning stars burning with nuclear fusion, that are cooler than this planet. How is this possible? KELT 9b orbits a large, extremely hot, blue-white star, and it orbits terrifyingly close to it, whipping around its star in less than 2 Earth days. The radiation it receives is so intense that its day side is hotter than the surface of many stars, and the heat is so extreme that it is tearing the planet apart. Molecules cannot survive on KELT 9b. The temperature is so high that molecules of hydrogen are ripped apart into individual atoms. The planet is even evaporating, its atmosphere streaming away into space, boiled off by the merciless heat of its star. Some estimates suggest it is losing enormous amounts of material, forming a glowing tail, like a comet, as the star slowly consumes it. KELT 9b is a planet being cooked alive, a world hotter than a star, slowly evaporating, its very molecules shredded by heat, streaming away into space as it dies. A planet that should not be able to exist so close to such a violent star. And yet there it is, burning hotter than the suns around it. Number 6. The planet made of diamond and lava. 41 light-years from Earth is a planet called 55 Cancri e, and it may be one of the most valuable and most terrifying objects in the galaxy. 55 Cancri e is a super-Earth, a rocky planet about twice the size of our own and about 8 times its mass. But it orbits its star so closely that a single year on this planet, one full orbit, takes less than 18 hours. It is so close to its star that its surface is a hellscape of heat, with temperatures reaching around 2,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough that the entire surface may be covered in oceans of molten lava. But the truly astonishing part is what the planet may be made of. Early studies suggested that 55 Cancri e might be extraordinarily rich in carbon. And under the crushing pressure and blistering heat inside a carbon-rich planet, carbon takes a very particular form: diamond. Some scientists proposed that a significant portion of this planet could be made of diamond, a world where beneath the oceans of lava there could be a mantle of pure crystallized carbon. An entire planet, potentially worth more than the entire economy of Earth many times over, if such a thing could ever be measured. Now, more recent studies have complicated the diamond picture, and the planet's exact composition is still debated. It may have a lava surface, a strange shifting atmosphere, and bizarre, unexplained changes in its brightness that astronomers still do not fully understand. It is one of the strangest rocky worlds ever found, but the image remains unforgettable. A planet of molten lava oceans, blazing at 2,000 degrees, whipping around its star in 18 hours, possibly sitting atop a treasure of diamonds so vast it defies imagination. A hell of fire and jewels, so hostile that nothing could ever survive there, and so rich that it mocks every notion of value we have ever had. Number 5. The zombie planets orbiting a dead star. Most planets orbit a living star, like our sun, but some planets orbit something far more sinister, the corpse of a star, and they are among the most horrifying worlds in the universe. About 2,300 light-years away, there is an object called PSRB 1257+12. It is a pulsar. A pulsar is the ultra-dense, rapidly spinning remnant of a massive star that exploded in a supernova. It is a stellar corpse, a city-sized ball of matter so dense that a single teaspoon of it would weigh billions of tons, spinning hundreds of times per second, and blasting out deadly beams of radiation. And orbiting this dead, radiation-spewing stellar corpse are planets. In fact, these were among the very first exoplanets, planets outside our solar system, ever discovered back in 1992. These are sometimes called zombie planets because they orbit something that should have destroyed them. When the original star exploded as a supernova, it should have obliterated any planets around it. So these worlds either somehow survived the explosion, or more disturbingly, formed afterward, from the debris of the dead star. Planets born from a stellar graveyard. And they are utterly hostile, bathed constantly in intense radiation from the pulsar, swept by beams of energy hundreds of times per second. These worlds are sterile, deadly, and drenched in enough radiation to destroy any conceivable form of life instantly. Imagine standing on one of these planets. Above you, no warm sun. Only a tiny, dead, spinning point, flashing hundreds of times a second, drowning the sky in invisible, lethal radiation. Worlds orbiting a corpse, in a graveyard of light, forever. Number 4. The water world, with an ocean thousands of miles deep, and pressure that would crush you instantly. About 48 light-years away is a planet called GJ1214b. and it may be a type of world that does not exist anywhere in our solar system, a water world, but not a gentle, ocean-covered paradise, something far more crushing. GJ1214b is a super-Earth, larger than our planet, and astronomers believe it may be covered in a vast, deep, global ocean. But this is not an ocean like ours, a thin film of water over a rocky surface. The ocean on a world like this could be thousands of miles deep, so deep and under such immense pressure that the water at the bottom would not behave like any water you have ever known. Under the crushing pressure at the bottom of an ocean thousands of miles deep, water is compressed into exotic forms. It can become hot ice, a bizarre state of water that remains solid even at scorching temperatures because the pressure is so extreme that it forces the molecules into a solid structure despite the heat. Beneath the liquid ocean, there could be a layer of this strange, hot, high-pressure ice, wrapping the planet in a shell of water that is solid but boiling. If you tried to descend into this ocean, you would be crushed long before you reached the bottom. The pressure would flatten you, then compress you, then destroy you utterly. And below, waiting, would be a world of exotic ice and superheated high-pressure water, in states that could never exist on the surface of Earth. A planet drowned in an ocean so deep and so crushing that its very depths are made of forms of water we can barely comprehend. Number 3, the planet where it rains rocks onto oceans of lava. We have seen a planet that rains glass and a planet that rains iron, but Coro 7b may have the most alien weather of all. On this world, it rains rocks. Coro 7b is a rocky planet, orbiting extremely close to its star, roughly 489 light-years away. It is tidally locked, meaning one side permanently faces its star and the other faces eternal darkness. And the day side is a nightmare. The temperature is high enough, around 2,300 degrees Celsius, to melt rock. The entire dayside surface may be an ocean of molten lava, but here is where it becomes truly strange. On the blazing dayside, the heat is so intense that it vaporizes rock. Actual stone turns to vapor and rises into the atmosphere, forming clouds. Clouds not of water, but of vaporized minerals, clouds of rock. And when those clouds of vaporized rock drift to cooler regions, the rock condenses and falls. It rains pebbles, small pieces of solid rock, raining down out of a sky full of stone clouds onto oceans of molten lava below. A world where the weather cycle is not water evaporating and raining down, but rock, stone rising as vapor, forming clouds, and falling as a rain of pebbles into seas of liquid fire. It is perhaps the most alien weather system ever conceived, and it is real, happening right now, on a planet we have actually found. Number 2. The Ainsati Dainam Diusan Urats, the planet flung into eternal exile, wandering the dark alone. About 336 light-years away is a strange and lonely world called HD 106906b. It is a giant planet, many times the mass of Jupiter, and its story is one of the most unsettling in the galaxy. HD 106906b does not orbit its star the way planets are supposed to. It sits at an absolutely enormous distance from its star, hundreds of times farther than the Earth is from the Sun, so far away that it takes an almost unimaginable amount of time to complete a single orbit, and astronomers believe it may have been violently flung out there, exiled to the frozen outer edge of its system by some catastrophic gravitational event early in its history. Out there, in the deep cold and darkness, it drifts, almost completely disconnected from the warmth and light of its star. A giant world, banished to the outer dark, orbiting so far away that its star is little more than a bright point in an endless black sky. It is a preview of an even more disturbing fate, because some planets are not just exiled to the edge of their systems. Some are thrown out entirely. Number 1, the billions of worlds drifting in eternal, starless darkness. Everything on this list has been a planet orbiting a star, however hostile that star may be. But the most terrifying planets in the universe are the ones that orbit nothing at all. They are called rogue planets, worlds with no sun, and they may be the most common type of planet in the entire galaxy. A rogue planet is a world that was either flung out of its star system by gravitational chaos like HD 106906b, but thrown even harder, completely escaping its star, or that formed alone in the darkness of space, never bound to any star at all. And they are not rare. Recent research suggests there may be more rogue planets in our galaxy than there are stars, billions of them, possibly trillions. Drifting through the darkness between the stars, alone, Picture one of these worlds, a planet, perhaps like Earth, perhaps with mountains and canyons and vast plains, but with no sun, no daylight, no warmth. Its sky is Yongyuan black, filled only with distant cold stars that give no heat. Its surface is frozen to hundreds of degrees below zero. It has been falling through the dark for billions of years, and it will keep falling for billions more, silent, frozen, and utterly alone, until the end of the universe. Some scientists believe that some rogue planets could, incredibly, still harbor liquid water beneath their surface, kept warm by the planet's own internal heat, hidden under miles of ice. Which means that in the deepest darkness, on worlds with no sun, in oceans that have never seen a single ray of light, there could, in principle, be places warm enough for something to survive. Life, in the eternal dark, on a world falling forever through the void, that has never known a sunrise, and never will. That is the most terrifying kind of planet. Not the ones that burn, or crush, or shred, but the ones that drift, cold and silent and alone, through an endless darkness, carrying their frozen secrets, forever unseen. And that senior astronomer, the one some of you have asked me about, the one who allegedly said, off the record, that he wished we had never looked. When he said it, these worlds were part of what he meant. Because for most of human history, we imagined other planets as versions of Earth, green worlds, blue worlds, places we might one day visit or even call home, and then we actually looked, and we found glass rain, and iron storms, and oceans of lava, and worlds darker than coal, and planets orbiting corpses, and billions of frozen orphans drifting in the dark. The universe, it turns out, is not full of gentle new Earths waiting for us. It is full of horrors, beautiful, staggering, unimaginable horrors. And the more planets we find, the more we understand just how rare, how fragile, and how precious our own quiet blue world truly is. A world where the rain is only water, where the ground is solid and cool, where a warm sun rises every morning. In a universe full of nightmares, Earth is the one impossible dream. If this video changed the way you look at our own planet, then you should know there are other worlds, other discoveries, just as strange and just as terrifying, that I could not fit into this list. I made a video about those. It is on the screen right now.